That's live. Now I go back here. There, I think. And from there, I can go to show hidden comments. Firefox, my videos, and then I need to record something. And hopefully it can pull correctly. We shall see. We shall see. Oh no, that's the wrong one. Yeah, thank you. Hopefully that will work. Uh, Weird. Didn't say that password 3 months ago? What's wrong with you? Okay, come on, log in. I'm pretty darn sure that's my password. Meanwhile, I can play around with this. Yeah, it is. What's going on there? Okay. Can I tear it off with the... No, I can't. Wow. Wow, that's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. And cool. Shame the bottom print so it'll work. Barely. Need to sand that off and we're good to go. Wow. Pretty cool. Okay. Yeah, I know how that works. So can I record from here? Anyone on yet? Nope. Hello. I'm very slow tonight for some reason. Webcam record. You must have a better printer than me or something. That's wow. There's no how to spin. I could just there we go. It's that corner that's giving me problems. So I can just get around there. And that's getting better. Okay, that's free enough. I'll do the same thing over here. So for those of you who are actually watching, yeah, no, that's not pulling in anything. Shoot, so I can't do a hello, I'm on YouTube thing. Now my mouse isn't working either? What the heck? Died on me. Great. Can I change the settings? We have you do the built-in camera. Can't pull in. Why can't I pull in the other camera? Okay, now the other one is kind of stuck. Okay, so now we spin that a bit. Move that around here. There we go. It does require some fiddling. Okay, so there we go. So we got some spin there. The back of it is pretty good. Or the bed's pretty good. That's pretty impressive. Actually, very impressive. A little unhappy there, but you know, with a little bit of sanding and playing around, it'll be fine. Yeah, it still needs some more work. If anything, it really just needs some yeah, that's the problem. Just need some friction in there. Still, 3D printed toy. That's amazing. Okay, I still need to set up. You know, we're watching the sausage get made. Hey, Mexican. So, in case you're wondering what I'm doing, I just printed this little toy truck. It's also a thing for Pi Day, P-I, cute, and it actually is a working truck, and the wheels spin and everything. It's a very clever design actually because it prints like this with no parts or assembly. It prints all in one piece, and the other little pieces are pretty good. Although I just noticed that the axle in the back here broke, which is a shame. I could probably glue that back together, but it's insolidly on the other side, so I think I'll just leave it as it is. But that's a shame. But still, it works. You know, you can drive along, and that's cute. People are doing neat stuff. So how you doing, Mexican Otaku? And all others who may be watching. I think you're the only one at the moment. Yeah, I cannot do the YouTube thing. Skim through a few of my notes here. Shared a post, shared a post, commented, shared a post, commented, shared, post one. Where's the person added me thing? I want to make sure I'm not missing anyone who may have added me in the past week. It's easy to miss. Oh shoot, did that miss? No, there it is. And plus twos. Maybe I just go to
And welcome back to Otaku no Video. As always, thank you very much for joining me. Well, today I'm going to be talking about Mobile Suit Gundam, and I'm calling this video a foundational text video because I believe Gundam is a foundational text of anime, meaning that it is a series that was not only widely popular and widely influential, it's become a show that a lot of people talk about, write about, reference, both within the industry and within other shows, but also within fandom. It's a show that, in this case, is worth knowing about and worth
streaming the foundational text video. I don't want that. Midterms. I couldn't make it to Comic-Con. That's the same. It's a shame. Yeah, folks are kind of going, kind of talking a lot about it in my various social circles. Pi Day, that is. So I thought I'd look around, and I've been downloading and doing a lot of 3D printing lately for fun. So I came across this and thought, hey, we'll do that. Something this big always prints a little bit of. See if I can show you this here. always prints with some inexactness. I know that's really blurry, but you get some bits that need to be sanded down there. Oops. You know, all one piece. Pretty impressive. This back's like pretty bad actually. Pretty uneven. All depends on how it prints, what the orientation is. So yeah, so the way he did this, which was rather clever, is that it prints like this, and so it prints the wheels as cylinders with the chassis around it. Then it narrows the wheels into the what do you call that? The rod in the center, and then expands back out and does the other wheel. So it's completely enclosed by the rest of the chassis. And technically, I mean, he could have continued these all the way up, and it still wouldn't have been able to come out of this because of the chassis around it there where it's narrow, which is a very clever design. And then it looks like a fairly similar thing back here, but in that case, he just printed a rod all the way down. I'd like to actually look into the file and see exactly how he did that. It looks like basically it broke right where it printed down there. So that's a flaw in the design. He tried to get around it, but it actually stuck together. That's probably not a great way of doing it, but oh well. Still, it's very clever. And I have a little truck. I got a truck. Yeah, sorry, I had the Gundam video playing in the background. Didn't realize it was playing. You guys talk about this week's anime episodes while I grab the other laptop. I always feel kind of absurdly upper class when I say I'm going to grab the other laptop. This is this cheap little, $90 thing. And for Otaku no Cooking tonight, we will be making some Mexican meat pie. I have no idea if that corresponds to anything actually Mexican. It probably does not. Recipe from my mom. It's basically a pizza crust, but a very soft pizza crust, topped with meat and cheese. So no sauce per se. Very filling kind of a thing. My first time actually making it, but it doesn't look very hard. Apparently I need to replace the batteries in my mouse. Maybe run down and do that at some point. What happens if I turn it off and on again? What that helps? Nope, that was dead. I did see the light flashing for a while, so I think it is legitimately unhappy. And now my regular mouse isn't going anywhere. There we go. It is slowing me down. I need to close some of these tabs, I think. Oh, that's right. That finished downloading? That'll help. I'm downloading a big package, a 3D modeling thing, apparently. That's okay, Dark Realm. Doing other stuff than watching anime is perfectly fine. For example, today, instead of watching anime, I went out and played some disc golf for fun. It's a beautiful day out too. In fact, I had the windows open, so if you see the occasional screaming child or barking dog, that's why. I'll probably close them when it comes to news time. But it's nice having a breeze. Slightly chilly, but that's okay. I don't think I've watched any anime this week, I must admit. But I think something sparks the mind. Oh, that's right. I watched the latest two episodes of Gundam Unicorn. So I'm finally caught up on Unicorn. Toradora Blu-ray is coming. Cool. I was surprised to see Toshio Suzuki stepping down as head of Ghibli this week. That's a shocker. Didn't think I'd ever see that. I'm gonna need to come up with some cool gift for Secret Weapon Vincent, because he's a machine with the news. Every week he's got the latest news sent to me. He's the one who collects the news for me. And I still look over it and such, but it is amazing. He is really good at collecting all this stuff together, and it really makes all of this possible. So I'll have to think of something to give him. Maybe maybe a credit at Amazon or White Stuff or something. Maybe send him a poster. And by the way, I'll mention this now. There will be no Saturday buffet next week or the week after because I'm going to be on vacation. I should be out of the country. So, as a reminder, I know I mentioned that last week. Then I'll have a special final buffet the week after that, which will be, I think, the first Saturday in April. You started with Gundam Unicorn. That's brave. I'm definitely excited about the new Unicorn in May because it's going to finally get us to the ending. I really want to see where we're going to go with the plot. They're definitely pulling out all the stops historically in terms of everything going on with. I cannot type today apparently with Unicorn. Seeing all sorts of interesting Universal Century stuff. I need to process my emails because holy guacamole, do I have a lot. Of course, I also get a lot of emails about weird stuff like homeowners insurance and graphic design colleges and dentists. What? I do not care about your dental colleges. Yeah, 3-day storm? Ouch. Thoughts and theories on Full Frontal. I'm more confused now than I used to be because initially it looked like they were implying that he was not Char, but with the more recent episodes, I'm not getting into spoilers here, but there's more, the things he's saying implies that he is Char, which could just be a front, so to speak. Full Frontal. And I think that's where they're going with that character. That he's a symbol for other things. But I don't know. I'm really confused about his character at this point. It could go anywhere. Attack on Titan dubcast. I don't know if that's all that exciting. I'll mention that there is a dubcast. Strike Witches OVA. announced story and such. New Hayate OVA, interesting, definitely news. New Loros TV anime shorts. Tiger and Bunny opens. First image from the new Sailor Moon. With a website with a countdown. Mononoke listed by U.S. retailer. 4 Ghost in the Shell project, which 25th anniversary. Toradora English dub trailer. That's gonna make a bunch of people wet. So that's part of the Blu-ray. Releases. Third Dear Brother crowdfunding. Censoring on the Doraemon film. Interesting. Kuroko's basketball to end. How the Rises goes. Suzuki retiring. Ah! I try to open too many, it tends to die on me. Oh, cool, Mexican. How'd you get a chance to speak to him? I do not know about the Put from Gaia Gear Gilded Suns. I have not seen Gaia Gear, whatever that is. So Punisher's motivation is basically not to get well. It's all pretty explained in the first episode, I think. You know, he is a child of a family that has the ability to pilot this Gundam, and he gets drawn into this story because he's the only person who can pilot this Gundam that is also very, very important. That's his motivation, is to kind of to survive and to do what needs to be done with that unicorn. He saves Audrey because she's gonna die. He sees a girl who is in clearly about to die, and he lives on a colony, so he knows the implications of that. Um, that seems like a pretty reasonable motivation to me. And she's about his age, and that helps. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a couple more cameos by the end. Well, especially with what he hints. I mean, so here's the thing: if he really is Char, that implies something about Amuro. Just saying. Yeah, trailers are really hard ways of getting a feel for how characters work. And there's the My Miracle thing, and then the manga stuff. Good. The Krokus basketball suspect admitted to the charges in court, pled guilty. I mean, it was pretty clear it was the guy, but at least we get that. Now ANN doesn't want to load for me at all. Great. I guess it's partly loading. Um, um, that's cute. It is a Strike Witches OVA project, and literally OVA is the name of it because it's Operation Victory Arrow. That's cute. 3 new OVAs for Hayate. For its 10th year of serialization, that makes me feel old. Adapting various stories in the manga. 3 separate limited edition releases. pretty standard stuff. Not that I'm complaining. Yeah, so ANN is not wanting to load for me. Get this problem a lot. See if I can reload these pages. Half of the pages won't load. Arg. So what do you think of the Anohana movie, Sebastian? Just saw that. I just saw your comment about it. Hey, Validus. I did not find the image. So why would it be weird that Bright has a picture of Amuro in his office when Amuro is like the greatest hero of the age? You know, when he is like, considered one of the great pilots of all time and someone who is literally pointing forward to a new future in humanity. I think if you knew the guy, you'd probably have a photo of him in your office. That's all I'm saying. It's kind of like meeting the president. That doesn't seem weird to me. Oh, lost an eBay bid war. That sucks. eBay is just. It can be fun. It can be just. Oh, I got a lot of stuff from eBay over time, but it just, you gotta be your best. Shoot. Oh, wait. Is this. Every so often this laptop that. No, it has. It's getting internet. It's just ANN has decided to refuse all my connections. Maybe you won't be able to do the news. We'll see. Grrr. Now I have half an hour. Here's hoping. Hey, Sebastian, you guys are free to discuss it. Be aware I'll have nothing to say. What's identity characters, Dark Devil? Oh, and by the way, the plan today is we're going to watch both of the Tamers movies. Mainly because there's not much to say about each one. There's a little bit to say. Probably more the first than the second. But it doesn't really make sense to watch one because I think we'll spend 10 minutes and then be over. So we'll watch both of them. And combined, they're an hour and a half. So it's a good amount of time. Yeah, use glass. Wish I could for this. I mean, I could load up the news, but it would take forever. Yeah, I can't have them all open at once, unfortunately. But otherwise, I would. That'd be awesome. And now the news. And so this. And so this. What's weird is it just sits there trying to load forever. Like it never times out. I don't know why. But Annan can get a little weird around this time. They seem to do server maintenance pretty frequently on Saturday afternoons, evenings. So every so often I run into this. I'm going to go swap out the batteries. Be right back. There we go. That's much happier. And I'm gonna close the windows now because it's getting kind of cold. No, I understand the word characters. I don't understand the word that came before that. Anganti? Agenty? Angry? I don't know what you're saying there. Yeah. You play that, what's that song from Evangelion? I'm actually tempted to load up a few anime songs, like from like anime from the 70s, just to see if, who would actually have that in YouTube's anti-piracy system, to see what's actually there. See if I get flagged for it. Not quite worth the risk, but it's tempting. Yeah, no, Bright doesn't really care. Um, Heck, I'm surprised he's still with the Federation, frankly, after what he went through in Zeta. Um, so there's, and yes, Amuro is kind of taboo. I mean, the Federation higher ups don't like Amuro, but there's no denying that he was he was and is a major force there, and Bright certainly had a strong relationship with him. I don't see how a photo of him would be impersonal. Angsty. Okay. When do people start disliking angsty characters? They do now. A lot of folks don't like angsty characters. It depends on the fan. So, oops, sorry. Get the microphone back in range. Depends on the fan. Angsty characters are big at different times as well. We've seen plenty of angsty characters in the 80s, the 90s, and today, and 2000s. Plenty of. Oh, one second. Yeah. I fear I'm going to be doing a lot of this before the news starts. I had some laundry in, so I just needed to go and check. It still needs some more drying. Sorry about that. Yeah, and boy, you want angsty, go to Zambot 3. You're right, Dark Realm. Yeah, we've had, the angst of Evangelion. Amuro was pretty angsty. Camille was angsty. And then, of course, all of those visual novel adaptations, main characters are fairly angsty most of the time. Okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to have to quit that and restart. See if that helps at all. Yeah, well, I don't think too much of Amuro's stuff is around. Kind of get that feeling. Amuro didn't exactly get onto White Base with all of his belongings. He traveled pretty light. Other than Haro. Wonder if they knew that Haro is similar to American hello. Wonder if that was intentional initially. It also depends on how you define angsty. I mean, there are characters that struggle with various things and emotions, but they're not massively angsty. You gotta kind of figure that out, or keep that in mind, I guess. Um, okay, maybe if I open these more slowly, it won't be a problem. Yeah, that's loading a little better. We'll just have to do this slowly and carefully. For what it's worth, Mexican, I should get around to watching Evangelion too. I've still never finished the TV series. Well, I watched, the beginning and the end, basically. That's true, Gilded Suns. It is a new side of Bright. I mean, we haven't really seen too much of Bright for quite a while, so it's interesting to see a this side of him where he's much more of the experienced commander that everyone looks up to, which we don't see as much of in other series. Even in by the time of Double Zeta, for example, he was well known and respected, but still kind of in the middle of his career, in the middle of his in the middle of his upward trajectory. Yeah, I just need to go slow. Apparently, if I go fast, then ANN limits me, maybe holds me down. Yeah, I would say Evangelion is not to be marathon. That's a good point. Yeah, I did not see any changes in the characters in Evangelion by the end. Right, and that's the thing, CD, is you're exactly correct that Bonager is doing his best in a very difficult situation. Um, so he should be pretty angsty. He should be pretty confused and working through issues. He also apparently had a pretty um, easy upbringing, pretty sheltered, relatively sheltered. So that'll have an effect as well. Camille's definitely angsty, but then he's again kind of autistic. I mean, I got a lot of flack for saying that in my review of Zeta, and I think I made it pretty clear that that's that somebody said that, and that's a helpful way of looking at the character. Not that he absolutely is, but that it helps explain a lot of his odd behavior. Just saying. Like anything is kind of a model you can apply to somebody. Say you can see a character that way. Like calling Shinji angsty. I mean, he kind of is, but he also there are other things that he deals with in a different way. So yeah, yeah, excuse me, my miracle definitely did well, which is good to see. Yeah, yeah, that was very cool in that hangar scene. Really, yeah, no, this is bright. Step down. And of course, they didn't really have autism back then, so to speak. That wasn't a well-known issue in the 80s. So it's always hard to retroactively apply something like that. But I think it's a helpful way, like you say, it's a helpful way of seeing the character. Um, they certainly made Camille have an unusual personality. Ooh, someone almost rear-ended someone out there, but we just just worked it out. Thank you for saying that, CD. I now want to watch that Evangelion movie even more. I will probably not have a chance anytime soon. I'm gonna be busy all day tomorrow, and then the whole work thing, and then I'm out for 8, 9 days. Yeah, you're right, Gildan. That shift into saying, "Oh, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do, so I'm going to do that," does make sense. Does kind of fit that idea. There's a mention here about Shifty Look, a webcomic. I haven't heard of it before, but I'm curious. Need to actually read these news stories to know what I'm talking about. Wow, 31 million volumes of Attack on Titan manga in circulation. That is one successful show. Okay. Come on, scroll. Hello. You lock up on me? Is that what you're gonna do? Yep. You completely lock up on me. Mm. It all has to do with ANN's ads. They have all these flash ads, which just kill performance when I've got a bunch of tabs open. Gonna be a problem. It's never been this bad before, but who knows? Grr. Do not speak to me of Attack on Titan. Nah, I'm joking. Wow, yeah, that's like a complete. Firefox is just dead. You know what? It switched over now. This is a problem. Yeah, now it's pretty much locked. Trying to think of a solution to that. I don't think Chrome's on Linux yet. Maybe it is. Grr. That's true, Doc Devil. Shinji is definitely having his own issue. He's not just an angsty teen, he has problems. So that's different. I still believe that he's basically in a mental institution dreaming Evangelion the whole time. So there's the image for the new Sailor Moon. If I could scroll down, I would love to see it. I'm just hoping that this eventually calms itself down. Now, there we go. Looks pretty much like the original. I mean, obviously, a lot of detail on the poster image, but that's going to be for any poster. They'll post animation content in about a week on the website. Good for them. We'll start the news in about 10 minutes. There we go. Yep, it is starting to respond. Good. Just quite slow, but, acceptable. Okay, so there we go. Amazon listing a DVD release for Mononoke. This is the spin-off of Ayakashi Samurai Horror Tales. That's kind of interesting. Ghost in the Shell projects, Borderless, 5 short movies, ebook release of the original Ghost in the Shell manga, art exhibition, and music event. With other projects being teased. Cool. NIS America, streaming dubbed Toradora, July 1st. NIS America, Blu-rays, July 1st. Dear Brother crowdfunding live. Doraemon film censored. Yes. Nudity. Because you got to have, a nude little girl in your film. There we go. Sorry, guys. I accidentally hit refresh on the video, and usually that's okay, but this time it kicked me out and wouldn't let me back in until I closed the window and went back through my settings. So, okay. Hmm. Weird. Kroger's basketball guy is weird. So, let's see here. So, validus, it depends on how you define, I'm sorry, uh, CWZZZ. It depends on how you define proper anime adaptation. A lot of folks think that the Berserk anime was a proper anime adaptation. Again, what's proper? That's the question. So, Berserk resuming April 11th. And Attack on Titan doing darn well. Good. So we're okay with the site. Anything more on the OVA? Between Operation Mars and the movie. Okay, so I think I've got all of the news here. Lotus War anime shorts. What is this? The Maid Cafe? Based out of Lotus War? I don't even know what I'm looking at. Have some record of Lotus War. Is that delicious? A weekly TV anime series, and here's the. Whoa! Lotus War is fantasy anime. It's a D&D campaign. What? What? I don't get it. That's bizarre. We'll find out more on April 6th. Talking about a movie available in quite a few cities, including in my area. I don't really want to watch it when I haven't really seen the TV series. Always the problem. Okay. Synopsis: Usagi, Luna, Sailor Moon, Illusionary Silver Crystal, Protect the Princess, Queen Beryl. Yeah. So yeah, it's a adaptation of the manga. And there's a countdown. So wow, all 25 episodes for Toradora at once. That's nice. Oh, they actually have links to the original scenes. You say might not be safe for work. Well, yeah, because it has a nude girl in it. So let's just see. I'm gonna pull this up here on a separate page, not visible to you guys, so that if it's scary, I will, cut it out. Yeah, yeah, no kidding. Unnecessary. The original shot, that is. Hey, anime guy. Welcome. Time to start the news. Just open up the link here. I can start that. I'm going to stop sitting on my leg because my foot's going to sleep. And recalibrate this a little bit. Okay. Should probably be closer to the center. You can see my new Soul Eater thing back there. A little bit. Anything else new from this perspective? I don't think so. No, all that stuff's original. Yeah. Dude. All right. Go back to the beginning. I probably should not. Well, ordering of this is a little bit odd, but that's okay. Oh, and Vincent mentioned there was one other that he wanted me to look at. It came in late, so let me just check that here real quick. At the risk of crashing the browser. See if it's big. Big news? Excuse me. One article that I missed. G-Kids to release Princess Kaguya in North America. That's a big one. That's going to the front of the list. That's awesome. Has G-Kids released any other Ghibli stuff? Oh yeah, they did Poppy Hill, Letter to Momo, Summer Wars, and announced Patima Inverted. Cool. Yeah, that's a big one. Alrighty. So, time to start the news here. I have a feeling I'm going to sneeze again in a second. Ah. Ah. Okay. So here we go. And welcome to the anime and manga news for the week ending March 15th, 2014. Starting with some Studio Ghibli news, as usual. G-Kids has announced they will be releasing the Tales of Princess Kaguya in North America. This is directed by Isao Takahata, director of Grave of the Fireflies, Pompoko, and other Studio Ghibli films. It will be released this year, is all we know. It's based on Tale of the Bamboo Cutter. It was released last year in Japan. It actually won the Animation Film Awards at the Mainichi Film Awards. G-Kids is the same company that orchestrated or helped along with the theatrical releases for Summer Wars, Poppy Hill, Letter to Momo. So certainly a good thing there. So that's cool. In other Ghibli news, trying to scroll over here because it got pushed over kind of oddly. The Wind Rises, Miyazaki's latest film, has earned a total of $3.3 million in box office totals in America. That puts it at number 10 amongst all anime films released in theaters in North America. Below Howl's Moving Castle, but above Princess Mononoke. Only made $2.3 million. It is now number 16 in its third weekend in the United States. Made $871,000 last weekend. So good on the Wind Rises for certainly performing strongly for Studio Ghibli. In sad news, Toshio Suzuki, the producer at Studio Ghibli, has announced he's going to retire as producer. He's going to stay around as general manager. It basically means he's not going to have such a close role in producing the films, but he'll still be there in the office. Suzuki is basically the reason that Studio Ghibli exists. He was the one who encouraged Hayao Miyazaki to find a publisher for Nausicaa the Valley of Wind, and indeed arranged for Nausicaa to be published in Animage, which Suzuki was working on at the time. And that enabled Nausicaa to be made into a film. And so he was there to basically push all of those things on and make Studio Ghibli happen. And he basically is the one who takes care of all the business stuff so that Hayao Miyazaki can take care of all the creative stuff. So at least on his films. So
It's kind of unfortunate that he's moving along to general manager rather than producer, and that he won't be as directly involved with things. But he's certainly been doing a lot, and certainly a very important part of the whole experience. So best of luck to him in the future. The My Miracle children's anime film recently finished a Kickstarter. Excuse me. Ended I believe last week, and funded $107,000 on a $30,000 goal. So certainly did very well. It's a campaign for an English dub for the film, and will also translate and bundle the original theatrical pamphlet, and it'll reach backers hopefully in October. So that's awesome. It's centers on a third grade schoolgirl with a magically active imagination. So it sounds like a good one there for folks to watch. So let's see here. Moving on to Strike Witches, I believe. So a new OVA has been announced called the Strike Witches OVA, because OVA is the actual title of it. OVA stands for Operation Victory Arrow. It's kind of cute. And it's going to be 3 different episodes that deal with, oh, dang it. My video suddenly died. The recording died. I have to do that all over again. Well, that sucks. Sorry, guys. We'll start that again. Maybe if I hide maybe that'll help. Make sure the settings are correct. That's correct. Weird. And welcome back to the anime and manga news for the week ending March 15th, 2014. Starting with some important Studio Ghibli news. G-Kids has announced they'll be releasing the Tale of Princess Kaguya film in North America. This is the latest film from Studio Ghibli and Isao Takahata, who also directed Grave of the Fireflies, Pom-Poko, and other films. G-Kids is the company that orchestrated the theatrical release of Summer Wars, Poppy Hill, and Letter to Momo. So certainly good pedigree there. In other Ghibli news, there's been an announcement. I'm sorry, this just went off. Oh yes, The Wind Rises has earned a total of $3.3 million in U.S. box office returns. That's good. That puts it already above Princess Mononoke, though it hasn't caught up with Howl's Moving Castle, which earned 4.7. It earned $871,000 last weekend, which puts it number 16 overall. But it is now the number 10 film in terms of box office receipts for all anime films released in America up to this point. So certainly doing well. In sort of sad news, Toshio Suzuki of Studio Ghibli has announced he is stepping down as producer, although he is going to stay around as general manager. Basically, he's not going to be involved in such direct day-to-day stuff as he was before. This is sad because of what Toshio Suzuki has been for Studio Ghibli, very instrumental in the foundation of Studio Ghibli, and stick around for the backstory where I'll explain more about that. Meanwhile, the My Miracle Kickstarter ended with doing quite well. It tried to raise $30,000 for an English dub of this kids anime film. Ended with $107,000, so we'll definitely get the dub of that, plus the original theatrical pamphlet, which is very nice. Should reach backers in October. This is the story of a third grader with a magically active imagination. So good to see an American release. What looks like a charming little film. Let's move on to some Attack on Titan news, shall we? People seem to like that show rather a bit. Funimation has announced the dub cast for Attack on Titan. You can go to animenewsnetwork.com for the list. A whole bunch of folks listed there. I'm not going to go through them, but it's Funimation, folks. We are also going to get a Blu-ray and DVD combo pack release with a collector's edition and a limited edition. The collector's edition will be $129, which will include extras, art card, 24 pages, blah, 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 replica of Aaron's key necklace, a sword necklace, etc., etc. And the limited edition will be $90 and will contain some extras and art card and booklet and so forth. They will ship on June 3rd. So that will be the first 13 episodes of the anime series. There'll also be a standard edition release of some kind.
So yeah, limited edition coming out, or I'm sorry, Attack on Titan coming out over here. Strike Witches has a new OVA project. I call it that because it's literally called Strike Witches OVA, not original video animation. Operation Victory Arrow. That's right. It's actually Strike Witches OVA is the name because it's Operation. It's cute. Anyway, it's going to tell 3 stories about some of the characters who returned home between the second TV series and the movie. So you get to see some of those little bits and pieces there. There'll be some special event screenings and so forth and so on. This will commence operations this fall, so they say. Some new OVAs from Hayate the Combat Butler, although they're just straight up OVAs. They'll be adapting some of the stories that were in the manga but have not yet been adapted into anime. They will be released, let's see here, June 18th will be, at least the first release, will be coming out. So more OVAs for Hayate the Combat Butler. Very good. Also going to be some TV anime shorts for Record of Lodoss War. This is basically a D&D fantasy story. It actually started as a D&D campaign way back in the day, and then it had anime adaptations and manga adaptations and so forth. And a website has opened along with images from it, and all I can say is, huh? I don't know. Doesn't look like D&D-esque fantasy to me, but that's the plan. It's going to be called, get this, Have Some Record of Lodoss War Is That Delicious? So apparently it's a Lodoss War maid cafe thing. I don't know. It's odd. Moving on, the Tiger and Bunny movie The Rising just opened in America yesterday, actually, on Friday. Screening in various theaters around North America, California, Illinois, New Jersey, Ohio, Texas, Virginia, Washington, etc. Obviously a limited release, but it is out there. So if you want to check it out, head over to ANN for more. We finally have a poster for the new Sailor Moon adaptation, and it looks like Sailor Moon. I mean, there's nothing really shocking about it. I will actually do a quick, this is just part of it, obviously, but I mean, that's pretty much Sailor Moon. So they promise in about a week they will post to the website with some animation examples. The website just basically launched with a countdown. So at some point we'll be able to see what this is, but it looks like Sailor Moon. Interestingly, coming back over to America, I should mention that the Sailor Moon anime will be streaming worldwide on the Nico Nico site when it comes out. So you'll be able to get it internationally all at once, hopefully. Meanwhile, a DVD for Mononoke, the anime series that is a spinoff of Ayakashi, is listed at least on Amazon. It's a $20 DVD, slated to ship July 15th. Now, sometimes these things appear and disappear because somebody hits the wrong button. Sometimes it's a mistake. Sometimes it's the wrong series. In other words, this does not mean there will be a release, but it's a strong hint that there may well be. Doesn't say if it's a different word. I mean, it just says it's Mononoke. Who knows? It's listed as being released by Cinedigm. Who knows? It's odd. There is no North America video release of Mononoke, so maybe it's something else. It's certainly it's a common word. It basically means forest spirit. So who knows? We do know we're going to get more Ghost in the Shell. That's right. A new Ghost in the Shell 25th anniversary series of projects has been released. That's right, 25th anniversary of the original manga. There's going to be a series of 5 short movies premiering March 28th, so that's just in a couple of weeks, called the Ghost in the Shell Arise Borderless Project. Border::less, because of course we got to go there. Then there'll be an ebook release of the original manga, an art exhibition, and a music event. And they're teasing some other projects too, possibly. So some 5 short movies. That's pretty darn cool. Hopefully we'll see something there. NIS America has released more information about their Blu-ray release of Toradora. It's going to reissue the anime series on Blu-ray with an English dub. Premium edition for $130 retail, and $60 for the standard edition, but that's for each half of the series. Cassandra Lee Morris as Taiga, Eric Scott Kimmerer as Ryuji, Christine Marie Cabanos as Minori, Johnny Young Bosch as Yusaku, and Erika Harlacher as Ami. So sweet. Let's see here. There's also a trailer of the dub that you can go and check. As typical with trailers, it's hit and miss as to the effectiveness of that trailer, but you can at least get a feel for how the characters are being handled. There's some crowdfunding news out there. The third box set for Dear Brother, Onisama A, is out there now. This through Anime Solves, which is trying to do sort of low budget crowdfunding for American releases of Japanese anime. They're looking for $13,000 for this release. That'll involve episodes 27 through 39. So we'll see how that works. Best of luck to them. It's actually an adaptation of Rose of Versailles. I didn't realize. It's basically a modern adaptation of Rose of Versailles. Pretty cool. Interesting note: the most recent, well, actually, the last year's Doraemon films, the most recent that was actually came out anyway, was released on TV a couple weeks ago in Japan, and it was censored. Now, Doraemon's a kids' anime. Why would it ever be censored? Because there's a scene where this vacuum hyper vacuum sort of teleporter thing switches on, and there's all this wind flying around, and Shizuka, the girl, gets all of her clothes ripped off. Classy. She's in grade school. So they basically added shafts of light for the TV release. Now, Doraemon has a long tradition of showing Shizuka, in the bathroom or in the bath, things like that. So it's not a big deal generally. But they censored it this time. Now, folks are crying foul. This is a result of the Tokyo Youth Ordinance Bill amendment from a couple of years ago, which isn't the first time it's ever had an issue, actually. But gosh. So anyway, more information on that in the backstory. But there was a censorship of this scene. I'm kind of wondering why they had to show a grade schooler naked. But anyway. See here. I believe the final bit of anime news, we do have some manga news. The second season of Kroku's Basketball TV show will be ending on March 29th with the 50th episode. Now, there's plenty more stuff to go in terms of the Kroku's Basketball story, and one episode that actually did not air. So hopefully that'll be released on a DVD at some point. Moving on to manga news, the suspect arrested for the Kroku's Basketball threats that went out a while back, basically death threats to folks doing Kroku's Basketball, admitted to the charges in court. He basically said, yeah, I did all of it. He added that he'll accept the court's judgment and any punishment without appeal. He said he made the threats out of jealousy. He was basically depressed, and he was trying to drag the creator of Kroku's Basketball down with him. Sort of an odd story. I'll explain more in the backstory when we get there. In other manga news, the Berserk manga will be resuming April 11th. The mangaka Kentaro Miura, took a break to make another manga called Gingan Tomakia. Hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Little mini series. So he did that. He's done. Now he's going to go back to Berserk soon. So that'll never end. Finally, we'll end up with some Attack on Titan news. There are 31 million volumes of Attack on Titan in circulation right now. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. Translated into 8 languages, published in over 10 countries. Obviously, other manga have gotten better than that, but in this short time, that's stunning. So Attack on Titan is certainly doing well. So that's the news, anime and manga-wise, for the week. Thank you so much for watching. See ya. There. Okay. I'll take a quick break, and actually I hear the buzzer down there. I'll have to go and switch things around a bit. Scrolling down. I have no idea what you guys are talking about. Which is okay. So 1 second, I'll come back and ooh, I said I'll come back. Where's the? There it is. I'll come back and we'll do the backstory. It came untucked. Don't get dirty. Okay, so we're gonna talk about Suzuki. We're gonna talk about and we're gonna talk about Kuroku's basketball. Was there anything else? I didn't explain Doraemon. I don't think so. Good. Okay. Let's do that. And welcome to the backstory, where I explain the backstory behind the anime and manga news stories of the week, at least some of the major ones that require some explanation. Starting with the retiring of Toshio Suzuki, the producer at Studio Ghibli. Now, of course, Studio Ghibli being a very storied anime film company with films by Hayao Miyazaki and Isao Takahata, Grave of the Fireflies, Totoro, Princess Mononoke, all sorts of amazing films and remarkable films. Suzuki's been sort of sitting in the background. He's always there to be the public face of the company. The importance of Suzuki is that he used to work for Animage, one of the big anime magazines at the time. Think of like, gosh, it's kind of hard to think of an example magazine over here. Asimov Science Fiction, maybe, or one of these. It's more Animage is more of a fanzine, or more focused on fans. It's still around, still huge. And so he was working for them, and he went to get an interview with Miyazaki, and famously was snubbed by him, and proceeded to print an article with a photograph of the back of Miyazaki's head, and saying, "This is Miyazaki," because that's all I could ever, get to see of him. And but they formed a friendship, and Miyazaki was trying to make Nausicaa at the time, and couldn't get any backers. And Suzuki was the one who said, basically, we will publish this in Animage, and we'll publish a manga version of it. You draw the manga, we'll publish it, and then with a manga adaptation existing, we can get backers. No one would no one would fund an anime film on its own back then, or even these days. It's very rare. So that's how Studio Ghibli came to be. Basically, they did the manga, then they found animators for that through Animage. They actually put advertisements in Animage for animators saying, "We're gonna animate Nausicaa: The Valley of Wind," right in. And so they did, and Suzuki was instrumental in all of that, and he was the one who helped them found Studio Ghibli, and he's been working the business side of Studio Ghibli for decades to allow Miyazaki and Takahata to work the creative side. So he's been just instrumental in making sure that everything runs. Now, he said he's going to stay on as general manager, so he's going to basically stay around and still do things. He'll still have a job, obviously, but he's not going to be directly involved in films, in each film, it looks like. So that's good because his experience will still, be around to be called on. But unfortunately, he won't be there to guide those films, which is just kind of unfortunate because he's a very important person for anime in general. So wish him well as he moves on to a new phase in his life. Secondly and finally, actually, I want to talk about the Kuroku's basketball suspect, Hirofumi Watanabe, who was arrested. Now, this happened a while back. I'm trying to remember how long ago it was. October 2012. So it has been a year and a half that these threats started appearing for events that were featuring a manga called Kuroku's Basketball. So various doujinshi events and fan events were getting these threat letters, some including powder and liquid substances, basically death threats against them. And there were just a bunch of these sent around all over the place. Several events were canceled, several were moved around,
And then the one at Tokyo Big Sight in October of 2012 did continue on and didn't have any problems with it. But there were some real concerns. So this individual was arrested, and then in court he admitted to all charges on his first day in court. He added he'll accept the court's judgment and any punishment without appeal. So he's not going to fight it, basically. He was arrested December 15th. Now, here's the interesting thing. A couple interesting things. He said he made the threats out of jealousy because he was abused by bullies and his parents during childhood. And he also asserted that he has homosexual tendencies. Don't know what that has to do with it, but I don't know. He said he wanted to kill himself. He was suicidal before making the threats. And he said he planned to do so when he's released from prison. That way, society can rest assured I won't do anything stupid again. Okay. And he said that once he learned about the mangaka's successful career behind Kuroko's basketball, he thought that if I somehow managed to harass and depress him, I could drag him into my suicidal journey. And here's where it gets even weirder. He added that he does not feel guilty, he will not make an apology, and is too poor to pay restitution, but he will accept responsibility. Okay. So definitely an interesting individual, and definitely has some issues to work through. So we will see what happens with that as the story progresses. The weird thing is he's kind of smiling at the camera in the clip I'm seeing here. So it's odd guy. But at least he's caught. There's no other issues. And fortunately, nothing happened as a result of it. You know, he didn't actually follow through on any of this stuff. He was just trying to harass, basically. One of the reasons you don't negotiate with terrorists. So anyway, that is it for the backstory, and hope this has been helpful. Thanks for watching. All right. So I have to make dinner quickly, because we have like half an hour before I'm going to start the backstory. So I'm going to take us all down to the kitchen. We're going to make this Mexican meat pie, which is, I'm sure, not Mexican at all. It's probably like, you know, Chinese food in a restaurant where it's not Chinese food at all. They just use that term, and it's kind of different. So it's probably inspired by some Mexican dish at some point, but at this point bears no similarity to it whatsoever, or no, you know, no relation. And I'll make sure we don't grab anything. There we go. So it takes about 20 minutes to bake. Plus we have the have to prepare it. So, you know, I don't think half an hour is going to be enough time to prepare and bake it all. So we'll see. I might end up starting the movies. It got real dark while it's baking. So prepare it and put it in the oven, and then we will move on. As I mentioned before, those who came in a little later, we'll be watching both of the Digimon Tamers movies tonight, because they are, you know, they're both kind of mild, if you will, in terms of story. So I think it kind of makes sense to put them together, and combined it's an hour and a half. So it's not a huge time group. One's 30 minutes and one's actually a little under 50. It's like 50 minutes. 50 minutes. Pad that down a bit so it doesn't bounce around too much. Okay, I've already preheated my oven. And yesterday was PI Pie Day. I actually had some cherry pie for that exact reason. So I'm going to start off by getting a cookie sheet ready. I'm going to put on some parchment paper, or you could grease it. You could spray it down with grease or butter, but parchment paper is easy enough. And you can see I'm going to be basing this on, I'm going to be glancing over here. Because I actually have the recipe taped up on my refrigerator, and you can see it's actually a handwritten recipe. I went to my mom's recipe book and then copied it down with her there, so I can actually see what what it is. Boy, I look fat. Oh well. Okay, so we're going to start by making the crust, if you will. We need a bowl for that. So we'll grab, we'll use that. I do know I'll also need to, let's see here. Oh, no, we bake the crust for 20 minutes. Then we chop the onion, ground beef, all that stuff. Spread that on the pepper on that when it's done. So that's good. So we can make the crust, bake it. While it's baking, we'll make all the rest of it. As I mentioned before, this is basically like a pizza crust. It's not quite a pizza crust, but it's like a pizza crust, topped with meat, and then in the center, cheese. And I think there's some green pepper sprinkled on that too, and some onion. So it's just that all sprinkled on a thing. So again, kind of a sauceless pizza. Don't know why it's Mexican. Okay, so we add a package of yeast, which is going to come from the yeast jar, which of course now is in the back. There we go. I need a package of yeast, which I believe is 2 1/4 teaspoons. So I'll do that first. There's 2 teaspoons and 1/4. I should probably, you know what I can do? Move that to the side, and then I'll try turning on automatic updates. Oh, I should, yeah. That's going to be an issue. No, 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 I didn't want that. Shoot. Oh, well. Hey, Harsh Cherry Blossoms. The health treatment in Japan. I don't know what you're talking about. Probably whatever anime you're discussing. Whatever weird anime you're discussing. I don't get it. Yeah, I think that's going to be auto going now. All right, so package of yeast, and then we need to proof it. So 1 1/8 cup of warm water. I'm going to proof that separately. So I'm going to get a cup and 1/8. There we go. I'm going to warm that up in the microwave. Easy enough. You want it warm, not hot. This will all go in there, actually, while we put the rest of that in there. 1/8 cup of oil, some sugar. I'm assuming she means vegetable oil. Pull that out. 1/8 cup should be a certain number of tablespoons, but I'm not sure. I'm just going to go with 1/2 teaspoon, quarter cup. No. And that is good, just warm. We'll put that yeast in there to what's called proof. This basically activates the yeast, gets it working before it actually goes in there. Okay. So now we can combine the 1/8 cup of the vegetable oil in here. There's the veg oil. And then a tablespoon of sugar. I like where this is heading. Good. And then a teaspoon of salt. So I originally had some yeast in here, but that's very, it has large nodules. So I know I don't have any sitting in here that's going to contaminate the salt. There's a teaspoon of salt. Generally, you want that yeast to proof for maybe 5 or 10 minutes, just to get it going. You can do that. And meanwhile, I'm actually going to start a pan to brown the meat, get the meat browned. I mean, we have plenty of time on that, but I'm just going to turn a burner on about 20% just to sort of get it warm. Whoops, wrong burner. Just to get the pan kind of up to heat. Yeah, we have plenty of time to wait, but it's nice to get that going. All right. So that's proofing. Add this, and then we'll just basically dump the yeast. You can see it's starting to get a little browned and starting to work there. So dump this in with that, and then 2.5 cups of flour. You don't want to see my legs. I've already got the oven preheated to 375. That's good. Less to worry about. Let me pull down my flour, get that ready. Just regular old flour. I have like none left of this, but I'm sure. Yep. Another bag up here. Never without flour. Flour is life. What have I been watching recently? I have not finished Kawakaze. I watched the most recent 2 episodes of Gundam Unicorn. So caught up with that. I actually have a little bit of Domino's in here from earlier in the week when I just I crave a takeout pizza. I'm just gonna get Domino's pizza delivered. So I did. Because I'm a grown up and I can do that. You know, some days you're like, nah, I'm gonna eat something pretty unhealthy, but just occasionally. Okay. It's only been a few minutes, but I'm going to go ahead and put that in. You can also smell the yeast go. It's a very obvious smell. It's not unpleasant, but it's a distinctive smell. We dump that in there. Oh, the oil is acting really weird. That's cool. Off to the side. So there's that. We have the salt. So now we're going to add the flour. I'm actually going to whisk that. I'm going to use a whisk. The tines of the whisk will tend to get everything mixed together. You could use a fork or a spoon, which is not going to be quite as effective. So you'll have a bit more lumps of things scattered throughout the thing instead of a nicely incorporated thing. It'll bake. It'll taste okay. It'll taste all right. And you'll have some bits that are more sweet than others. So probably don't want that a lot. Then we add, it's 2.5 cups, I believe. Yep, of flour. So I'm going to do 5 half cups because we know math. That bag has basically no flour in it. Yeah, it's like a teaspoon of flour. So I suppose I can dump that in here. Yeah, that's really funny. Well, I suppose it is flour. You know, there's no reason to throw that away. But it's just, here's how much flour I had left in the bottom of that bag. Okay. And actually, I'm going to, oh no, I'm going to dump that out. I don't want to really mix the quote-unquote old flour with the new. Not that it's terrible. Not that it'll kill anyone. But this is a little fresher than that other one. So there's a single half cup. And now I'm just going to pull it straight out of here. two. Good chance to use our Japanese. That's ni, san, yon, and go. Okay. Now, if we try to use the whisk at this point, it's going to turn into a dough, and the whisk isn't going to be able to get within that dough. So the whisk actually becomes less useful at this point. And I'm going to use a spoon, actually a wooden spoon, for fun, and just mix all that around. And so all I'm doing here is just stirring. There's nothing crazy. It's forming a pretty thick dough. At some point I'll need to use my hands here. Generally with doughs, you don't want to overmix. You want to get them just combined. My hands are clean, but I'm going to wash them again just in case. I've been messing around in this kitchen, so it doesn't hurt to clean up my hands. You want to spend a good amount of time washing too, which I'm not always good at. I believe the next episode of Unicorn will be the last. Yes, episode 7. See you, Mexican. No, we're skipping 2 weeks, and then we'll be back the following week for the final episode of this season of Otaku no Video. Okay, so yeah, so that's a nice firm dough. It's soft, but it's definitely a thing. So now we're just going to spread that out on our sheet. Let me just make sure there's nothing else. Yeah. I'm gonna try to squish that out into a disc. My mom does not say anything about size, but I know we want it basically pizza size. We all know what a pizza looks like, right? At least if you're an American, you're not an Al-Qaeda. So I'm going to just keep on squishing that out into, you kind of can't see, can you? Just keep spreading that out. Need to hire a camera person. Spreading that out until we've got something pizza shaped. Again, you can get sort of big or small on this. And you don't have to be really exactly circular. It's all in what you want to do. Okay. You do want to be careful here because you can get, the dough can be a little lumpy. And so you can get some parts that are really thin and some parts that are thick. And you want to reinforce those thin parts as you can. Push things back and forth. There we go. Okay. Get that dough off my hands, and I'll show you what I've got. Using paper towels to get any errant pieces that have gotten, stuck somewhere off. There we go. So there's our pizza dough. Again, that's just spreading it out. Again, this is not a pizza dough, but it's a pizza-like dough. It goes in the oven. Actually, as it happens, I have a pizza stone in there. That's going straight on that. I think it's on that. No, not quite. There we go. Nice. So, we set the timer for 20 minutes. Okay, that'll come out there. Now we turn our attention to the meat and other bits and pieces. I will gladly email you the recipe, Sebastian. Okay, so now we're going to cook up this meat, and I'm going to heat this up to about 50%. See the little glow under there. Add in some peanut oil. You can use different oils for this. You can even use butter if you want, but butter is going to smoke. And different oils have different smoke points, different points at which they start to put off smoke at certain high temperatures. And peanut's a pretty good one for this. So we'll go in there. Then we're going to grab our meat. I have a pound of meat here. Now, you may notice this and wonder, why aren't you, why are you using plastic bags for things? That's terrible. I always have them put a plastic bag around meat because meat can drip. It has all of that nasty juices in there. So it does make sense to put some plastic around there. Oh, anime guy, you're asking about, not the unicorn, you're asking about this show. I'm sorry, I was confused. This is the next to last episode of the Saturday Buffet. We will have one more in 3 weeks, basically. Just testing the temperature on that. It needs a little while. There's a few more moments to get up to a good heat. Meanwhile, we can also do that. I'm going to be on vacation for the next 2 weeks out of the country, so I'll not be able to do this, unfortunately. I'll actually be literally flying while this would be going on. Otherwise, I'd try to make it work. Okay, so now I need to get chopped onion. Just to microwave it. That's weird. No reason to microwave that. What, microwave 1 chopped onion? That makes no sense at all. Oh, there is some tomato sauce. There is some sauce in this. I did not realize that. I do not remember my growing up years, apparently. So, point being, we need to chop up some of these veggies. Thankfully, that has not leaked all over the place. So, let me grab a cutting board, and we will chop up. We'll start with the green pepper, excuse me. And so we're just going to dice that. Although I don't see that here. Oh yeah, it is. It's put on at the end. So we now grab a knife from back in here. I can be all yandere now. Cut that. And I'll grab a bowl to put the diced green pepper in. So I cut this into quarters, pretty straightforward. I'm actually going to grab a steak knife for the next bit. And I'm just going to cut that bit off there. Basically, the white bit adds no flavor. So any of the white can get out, and any of the seeds, they add no flavor either. They actually can have kind of a bitter taste. You want to cut that out if you can. Yeah. There we go. Do that with all 4 pieces. This is basically how I take care of apples, too, by the way. Oh, no! Escapee! Escapee! So you get that. A couple more times. And be careful here, you don't cut your fingers. A bit of that. Very interesting. And then the rest of that there. I mean, a couple of seeds aren't gonna hurt you at all, but the fewer the better. And if you have a gardening bent, plant these in your garden. Okay, so now cut these lengthwise into pieces.
The thicker your pieces, the thicker your final pieces. You know, how big do you want your final pieces? And you cut those into roughly equal-sized pieces, and there you go. Repeat as necessary. A lot of seeds on these. Do not want to come off. Oh, yeah, they're kind of sticking there. Okay, so... Now, depending on your green pepper, they may chop a little more easily. Freshness and all that. Fresher green peppers will tend to chop more easily than old ones. We keep on, yeah. This is a little past its prime. I only bought it yesterday, but it's a little unhappy. And a little longer to cut. And the only way to get good with chopping is practice. Sorry. And just being aware of what you're doing. Even I'm not that fast, as you all have seen from the various cooking shows out there. So, there we go. It's not updating the chat room very well. Do I have to actually be on the page for it to update? If you guys want to put your email addresses in the chat, I'll be happy to email you the recipe, sure. It's a very easy recipe, all things considered. You know, it's just browning up a few things and putting them on a pie. For next season of O&V, I would not at all mind doing a little website where I put up the recipes for these. You know, so every week the recipe is actually out up there somewhere. Okay, so there's that. There's your diced green pepper, and fairly large. All right, that's undoubtedly up to speed. I'm just gonna wash off. I have a little bit of the green pepper juice on my hands. I'm going to start browning the beef, and I'll also chop the onion. The beef will take a little while to chop. We're at about 12 minutes to go on the crust. Definitely time to do that. Oh, the beef isn't going to take that long. Well, oh well. Chopping the onion will not require this, so I'm going to use this on the beef. Actually, let me grab a bowl, at least a plate. So we'll do a plate, just because this juice is going to drip out. Now, tell you what, I'm going to put some gloves on. I'm about to touch raw meat. That'll require another, hand cleaning afterwards if I don't have gloves on. I could, that certainly wouldn't kill anything, but this will just cut down on the amount of hand washing. Plus, I feel like I'm a surgeon. Prep the patient. Stat. And other words like that. Yep. My glove on, right? It's kind of an extra step, so it's arguably faster. There we go. Okay. So now we slice open the package, taking care not to cut ourselves. Trying to get that out here. There we go. That's kind of a small pan for this, as you can see, but I'm used to working with ground beef, so I know how to handle it. If you're a little more, new to this, raw, we might say, you could use a larger pan so you can spread things out more. But there's my pound of beef. And I take these off. Taking care not to get anything on my hand. There. Now I'm going to grab the shield so that's not sputtering everywhere. All right. This goes in the dishes. And now we can start, and this also goes in the dishes because that's raw meat. Now we chop our onion. Now we chop an onion. Yeah, so we're going to have some chili powder in here.
So I'm going to cut the ends off the onion. Okay. So now I have this, right? And some of this stuff will like flutter right off. Then we cut it in half lengthwise. Right? So it's like that. Now we take those other halves. Take the outer shell, peel that right off. Now you have a nice, clean onion. Same thing here. You got all that ugly stuff here. You just take that layer, pull it right off. Now, I'm going to grab another bowl. You got one half lengthwise. Now, she doesn't say here whether you want to dice it or not. That really depends. Chopped onion. So that usually means chopped in fairly large sizes. So we chop it lengthwise. That way it stays together. See, I've chopped it in these slices, but it's still one piece. And now I chop the other way. Fairly large chunks. And there we go. And that can just go right into our bowl. Then we do the same thing on the other side. I am starting to cry, but that's okay. Now that is going to be probably pretty cooked on the bottom by now. But I want to get through the rest of this onion, so I'm just going to chop the rest of these pieces. And again, go over here, chop, 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 and this is a little larger, so I'm going to chop there. There. There's the onion. Now there's going to be some little green at the center. You'll notice here, there's some of the green from the center. That's pretty potent stuff, as I recall. So I generally try to avoid that in the final onion. And it can taste kind of weird. It can have a weird weird consistency, not taste, but just kind of be weird on you. Okay, so there's that. Grab my, where's the, oh shoot. Clean that off. That's okay. I used the spatula for something earlier today and forgot to clean it. Actually fried eggs this morning. Just clean that off real quick. With soap and water. There we go. Do the handle. And it's right as rain. Sebastian living on the edge. All right, so yeah, definitely need to. Now I'm just chopping this into pieces with a spatula. Then I'm going to flip it as best I can. You want to get that cooked meat off the bottom and onto the top. The bottom is already cooked. Hang on 1 second. And the bottom's already cooked, so there's no point in leaving it on the bottom for a long time. You want to kind of rotate this as often as you can. So now we're going to need, I'm going to grab another bowl. I'm going to add to this a can of tomato sauce, regular can, and 2 teaspoons of chili powder. So there you go. That's actually not spitting much, so I don't think that's big of a deal. The tomato sauce goes in here. I also need to grate some cheese, although I can do that when it's time. But I'll pull out the cheese in the grater. About time to flip that. Maybe. Yeah. Again, this is on about half temperature-wise. I find that's about good for browning beef. You can go a little hotter and it'll brown a little faster, but then you have to really keep your eye on it. I prefer this to just, whoops, helps if it stays on the burner. I prefer this because it's a little easier to manage. You don't have to be jumping at it so often. All right, so now we have 2 teaspoons of chili powder. The teaspoon I already used down there, so I've got another one. Why we have multiples? And we grab our chili powder and 2 teaspoons. You could certainly pump this up in various ways. You know, some actual chili peppers, for example. That's actually a good amount of chili powder. 2 teaspoons. Then we will just use a regular old spoon to mix this up. The whisk, you know, we could certainly whisk it, that'd be kind of overkill. Oh, we want to okay, that's why the microwave is in there. We want to, at some point, combine all of this and then heat it up when it goes on there. Because it shouldn't be in there cold. And we certainly can't microwave this. So I've got to figure that out in a second. Let me just go ahead and put in the onions and the green pepper. So that's what we got there. So we'll add the meat to this. We have about 2 minutes to go in the crust. Fortunately, the crust is, you know, we don't have to top the crust immediately. It can come out and chill down a little bit. So now I'm just trying to get all of that red meat or pink meat down towards the bottom of the pan where it'll cook. And leave only brown meat on the top. Again, that's cooked. And you don't have to be really, you know, hugely careful about this. It will cook from the bottom up. So, you know, you're trying to get the pink more down towards the bottom so it'll cook more. This will all eventually cook. It'll just cook better and faster that way. It's out of the way because that's going to come out shortly. So what else? Oh, the cheese. Here's your grater. Actually, I also have the box for the grater. The cheese will go in there. If I can fit it on. There we go. And I'll pull out the cheese. I have a couple of blocks of cheese in here. I'm going to use the half-open one. I think that's the one. I don't know if I've opened this yet or not. Yes, I have. Good. This is the open block of cheese. Extra sharp. Okay. A bit more pink meat there. I want to shuffle that around. But that's what we're looking for. If you see any big hunks, you can always chop that in pieces. Oh, interesting, Sebastian. You wash an onion, the flavor is smoother. Good to know. I will keep that in mind. I'll try that. Okay. So I need a microwavable dish for that. I'm going to grab... That's going to fall. Okay. So our crust should be done. I'm going to put this stuff in a casserole dish. It's actually a little small for it with the meat. But, yeah, again, that's this meat goes in here. I'm going to reserve off the juice. In other words, I'm going to try to not get the juice in here. That'll just make it more greasy. You can certainly do it. It's not going to kill you, but it will just add to the greasiness of the dish, which I'm not a big fan of. So there goes all of that. The burner off, and now we're going to go ahead and pull out the crust. A good anime guy, that is the idea. Oh, I need to grab the baking sheet. Okay. Let me show you what I'm doing here. There we go. That looks beautiful. Okay. And now, where'd my spoon go? Did I dump it in somewhere? Oh, there it is. So now I'm very carefully over here, I can't see this, mixing the meat in with the rest of the sauce, which again needs to be heated up. Because as hot as this meat is, once I mix it in with the rest of the ingredients, which are room temperature, it's going to be, lukewarm. And who wants to eat a lukewarm Mexican meat pie? So, it smells great. Yeah, that's definitely not hot enough. I'm going to just grab a paper towel, put it on there, and microwave it on, we're going to go with 1.5 minutes on 70%. So not full power. Okay, meanwhile, I'll grate some of this cheese. Your box cutter will have different sizes if you have one, and that will determine how big the chunks of cheese are. And it also has an effect on the cheese itself, or rather, the cheese itself has an effect on it, because if you have a really soft cheese, it's not going to fit through those small pieces. It's going to goop. But with a hard cheese, you can really go with pretty much anything. So I'm going to use the smaller holes. I'm still not using this box cutter, and I'm going to move this knife out of the way so I don't kill myself. There we go. And you just run it down there, and you can see the cheese gathering in the reservoir below. It's very nice. And this will go in the center of the pie. Just keep an eye in there. That's about half full, or that's about completely full, rather. So we go a little bit longer. It's all about how much cheese. So the interesting thing about this is the cheese goes in the center, not all around. Okay, so we're about done there. Let's see how we're doing in terms of this. It's steaming, that's good. Yeah. Okay. Just stir that around a little bit. It doesn't need to be necessarily piping hot, but that's good. That's nice and hot. In fact, it's hot enough. I'm going to use gloves for this. And so now, you can see it's a lot of stuff. I probably should have made the crust bigger. Definitely should have made the crust bigger. That's comical. That's hilarious. Wow. So that's a bit of a problem. Yeah, that's not really going to work. You're not going to be able to slice this and do anything with it, but oh well. Next time, larger crust. Now, yeah, that's way too much cheese. Do you know what? Nah. We'll spread it around. That's fine. Mexican meat pie. Now again, usually that's more of a layer on the bottom, so it's sort of spread out. It's more like that thick instead of that thick. But oh well. And so you just cut this in pieces, and you're off the races. In fact, we're only 10 minutes over. That's fine. it's going to fall all apart. But, you know, life's worth living. I think it's all about living. I'm being careful here because, you know, this cookie sheet is not really designed for cutting on. So I'm trying not to cut too deeply there. There we go. And then somewhat difficulty. There. Big slices for a big pot. So I will return down here to clean up in a bit, right after that. But I do want to take care of the stuff that should be in the fridge. Yeah, if we can 3D print objects, we should be able to 3D print and send each other food. I completely agree with that. And I would absolutely share this with you all if I could. All right, so let me just get this stuff kind of out of the way so we don't have any problems with critters while we watch some Digimon. Oh, I thought it was cheese. It's an onion. Oh. Ah. Need cheese. Oh. Ah. Right, so, just to make you all jealous, I'm going to bring some of this up. Well, I really can't bring anything up because I've got to juggle that, but yeah. Mexican meat pie. Okay, I'll have to return down to this while we're doing the buffet. I've been running all this time on battery. Exactly. No such thing as too much cheese. Okay, so let's start some stuff. All right. Oh, and by the way, next week, or I'm sorry, in 3 weeks when we come back, I'm going to do the mother of all giveaways. It's going to be a massive giveaway. I think I'm going to do an ad for this giveaway. It's going to be that big. So you'll definitely want to be there for that. I'm going to spend so much money shipping this giveaway. Kind of crazy. And it will be international. Because I want to get this out there. Where's the... We should meet for 200 episodes. It's a good idea. I have no idea how many episodes you've been doing. Actually, I think it's an anniversary for me on YouTube. I think I started on YouTube, really, in March at some point. Let me see if I can't find that. The first episode of, like, the first actual video. I know we started putting videos up a while back, but this was like the first real video we posted, as I recall. Scrolling back, page 22. Let's see here. Maybe I'm wrong. So close. So the first real review I posted was March 21st. 2009. 5 years. Been doing this for 5 years. So as of like next Friday, I think. 5 years on YouTube. Imagine that. All right, so I am now going to switch over to the Hangout so we can actually watch this thing. Thank you all for watching. Head over to Google Plus and keep an eye out for the video. You may need to reload your Google Plus stream for it to show up. Sometimes it doesn't show up immediately, and it just sort of hangs out there to actually refresh the page. But I will start it in a few minutes here, and I hope to see you over there to watch the 2 Digimon Tamers movies. And that's the plan.